Hopefully focused. One was to show you the web back in 1995, just to give you some kind of long-range perspective. So I've got a notebook here, and you can just flip through it, pass it around, but in 1995, I worked for a rich company that didn't care that I just sat there and printed things out all day. So I did, and I made a notebook, and I wondered why. What am I going to use this for? And this is the first time I've actually pulled it out. Over here is what we were offering people back in 1995.
Oh my gosh.
And then that's my business cards from back then. This is, I don't know if any of you are, except maybe Rob, are familiar with the magazine Adweek. That's the marketing magazine. This was my ad back in 1995. So pass that around. This was my brochure. And the only reason I'm doing that is actually prices are cheaper now than they were back in 1995. Because back in 1995, all we were thinking was electronic brochure. Take your brochure, make it electronic, give us $3,000 because everything had to be hand programmed back then. You had to handwrite all your code. So in several conversations that I've had, I've noticed some difficulties that some of us have. And the first thing you want to do, I'm going to discuss websites and social media in 10 minutes. The first thing you need to know is, do you own your own domain name? Because if it's not registered to you, yours is fine. If it's not registered to you, you're working for someone else. You're getting all this traffic and that other person owns the domain. Occasionally I've put domains in my name because I was registering things real fast, but then you switch it over, you put it in your client's name. So if they haven't done that, get on the phone. Because why are you working so hard otherwise? I almost want to say the same thing to you, Linda, in the sense, some of your stuff is a subdomain. There's a couple of you that are subdomains. You're something.someone. Again, you're working for the company, you're not working for yourself. Let's say you leave that company. Not that you'd want to at all, but let's say you decide you want to pick up your business and go somewhere else. If you're a subdomain of another company, you're not picking up your business and leaving. So what I suggest, I sell a health food product. It's a coffee berry, high in antioxidants. But I get my free website from the main company, and that's fine. But I set up my own website, so as I get my referrals, I can capture them. I can see my own server logs, I can know what I'm doing. And so you want to watch out for that type of thing. Your subdomains don't do very well. And the thing is how does Google look at your website? And I'm going to use Grace Squirrel Resort as an example because she's my client, she's really nice. Her domain name is Gray Squirrel. How many people down in San Diego are going to look for Gray Squirrel on the web? No, they're coming up here to Big Bear. They're going to probably, the most typed in keyword is Big Bear Cabins. And so what they're going to look for is they're going to type in Big Bear Cabins, they're going to go through a couple of pages. Unless Gray Squirrel shows up, they're not going to see Gray Squirrel. I always recommend have your name plastered all over your website, but have your domain name be your keywords. You can also buy, like Gray Squirrel, and point it towards a keyword-rich domain name so that you keep your brand and everything. But it's something to consider when buying your domain name. The other thing is your page title. A lot of people, again, want to put their business name in their page title, which is logical. But again, people aren't looking for you by your business name most of the time. Most of the time they're looking for something, for a product, a service, and that's what they're typing into Google. So even though you want your page title to be your business name, you really want it to be your keywords. Do-it-yourself websites can be another world of hurt. Sometimes they're not mobile friendly. Now, if you don't rely on visitors coming up, Not being mobile friendly is not a big deal. But if you're serving the visitor and 40% of the visitors are looking on their cell phone as they're coming up the mountain, you're missing a lot of traffic. And I know it's 40% because I've gotten the stats from several different large areas. And it's pretty obvious. We did that with old miners. As soon as we made it cell phone friendly, we jumped 40%. And you just don't want to miss that traffic when it's slow. Also in do-it-yourself, you don't have code for Google, and your pictures may not lay out all the best. And so you might say, well, I'm just throwing it up so people can find me or they can get in and get my product. Well, you don't want to lose them at the front door. It needs to be appealing, the buttons need to be easy, they need to be able to go back and forth, get into you, look at your product, go back and look at your store, go back and look at your product, and that all has to be a no-brainer. Because otherwise they're going to bounce off your site and go buy what they want at Amazon. You can control your website. It used to be you had to have a webmaster, and that webmaster better be chained to their desk. We moved up here in 1996, and I started back then trying to get people to get control over their own website. And so what I would do is I'd set it all up in Dreamweaver on their computer, get the FTP all set up, and let it be so they could hook up to the web whenever they were interested. Because you know, some people, like if you're in lodging and you get up in the morning and you're in the mood to change your price, you want it then. And WordPress is a software. You hear it as bloggers software. Don't let that affect your mind. It is software, it's content management software. Back in 2004, you would have paid 25 to 50 grand for this type of functionality. And now it's for free, it's on the web, and it's easy. And so if you can work in Microsoft Word, which most of us can, it's like a tiny step to being able to do your blog. And if you're wondering, go over to YouTube. Some 11-year-old will come up on YouTube and tell you how easy it is. But times have changed. You can control your website. There are great plugins that make it really easy to put a little pizzazz into your site. Now, with social media, because I'm just going over everything real quick, I'm going to get you all glazed over, and then you'll have to ask me questions afterwards. Google Plus. Google Plus is incredibly important. We're all over on Facebook having a great time, but Google wants you to be on Google Plus. Google runs the show. Therefore, you really do. If you're putting up a little picture, let's say of one of your cabins, you're throwing it up on Facebook, go over to Google Plus, throw it up on Google Plus. Go through it, hit a couple of plus ones, so Google knows that you're there. Start putting your domain name in, Google knows you're there. My feeling, and I've been pretty accurate as far as the web goes, I've been doing it since '94. My feeling is those of us that play hard in Google Plus now, today, get in there, get it going, you're going to ride ahead of the curve. I'm looking at Big Bear. I made a list of 93 people or businesses that are on Google Plus. No one hits it every day. The RA hits it pretty regularly, and the Chamber and Visitors Center will put something up. None of our businesses do. I really have a feeling Google will weight their search engine results, and Google Plus will start to take a dominance as far as the social media goes. So get a presence and just get used to playing on it. I post really weird things on it because I figure nobody's looking at it right now.
Do you do classes?
Yes, ma'am. YouTube. Now, y'all might say, why do I want to be on YouTube? Second largest search.
Everybody goes to YouTube?
First they go to Google. You know, when you're serious, you go over to Google, you look up your stuff. But there are so many people playing, doing all kinds of things. There's us tech people trying to figure out what's next, you know, and looking at videos. But it turns out the second largest search, largest is Google, second largest is YouTube. So Getting your, and the thing is, if you're putting up a big video, you don't want it to say my favorite painting. You want it to say Big Bear, you want it to say artist. You need to think, what words are people going to use to find you? And within a year, this lecture is going to be out of date. Because I've been talking keywords since '94, and I believe within a year, the equipment we're using is so refined, Google almost knows what you want to ask before you ask it. It's
I
gonna,
just could anticipate
So
that.
annoying.
Yeah.
I just did a Big Bear search, first thing that came up was Big Bear cabins. As I'm typing big and hit B, Big Bear cabins comes up.
well, yeah, that was, when I was talking with the RA, I told them I was gonna take over the keyword Big B. Because as it's feeding you results, so Big Bear is your most immediate keyword. But what's gonna happen is Google will give you results probably by next year based on your patterns. So we're gonna throw all this out the window next year. But right now, this is the game, so that's why I'm letting you know. Google Local, type in local.google.com, load your business on there yesterday. Clout is a great way to go over and evaluate your presence on social media.
How do you spell that?
K-L-O-U-T, if that's something you're interested in. My little ad is I have the largest clout score on the mountain. You want to get the word out? Woo, I can do it. Foursquare is when you're doing all that checking in. It's also a great thing to do. Here's the thing, your social media score, if it's important to you, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, depending on what your business is. But if your social media score is important because it is another way to promote your website, then all these little areas, you just set up a little piece of paper and go over every day, say something stupid everywhere. You know what I mean? You just say, post a cartoon, post a photo, say the weather's nice, start participating, start interacting. But I'll tell you one thing, do not be crabby.
Yeah. Why?
I know, and that's,
Works.
I didn't look at it when I
20%
said
growth a month, it works.
Sweetest grumpy guy we've ever seen.
well, that's true, you are very sweet about how you are, and that's what works. I just finished a book on social media, and the title is Likeability. And that's my theme song. Why do people come over to see you? They don't want to hear that you're having a bad day. They really don't. They want to hear that you're great, that it's lovely out, and they go, oh, that's addictive, and they'll come to you for that. I accidentally had that happen because, as everyone knows, I love coffee. So maybe once a week I'd post a little coffee cartoon. Well, next thing I know, I have people coming over.
Share them on your page.
They're sharing them, there's where's your cartoon, and so,
Wow.
well, have I created a monster? Actually, no, because you do have to keep everything, you only want to participate as much as you want and not create a monster, but it is easy for me to load one up every day, and it helps my social media score. So I found my little weird niche, but I could talk about coffee all day, and so that works.
I follow your comments.
I drink coffee.
Whenever I see anything I shared on our page now, when I see anything cost
Yeah, the
anything,
barista.
product.
We still have about 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah, we have 3 minutes till the meeting's over, so if you want questions, maybe speak.
Oh, I don't care about questions. You have questions, you find me. And I'm doing that on purpose. That's my marketing thing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it appeals to you and you have questions. I have a warning. Some of us on Facebook, we've set up our own personal account, and then we've gone and set up a page for our business through our personal account. If you put a direct link, buy my product, rent my house, you can be thrown off Facebook because that's against the terms of service. So check through the terms of service. What you want is you want to go into Facebook, sign out of your personal account, go back to Facebook and open a business account. Because you don't want to work this hard and then what'll happen is some other local will get cranky that you're doing well and they'll report you, or something silly like that. You just don't need all that. Just set it up right to begin with. Your top picture has to be 841 pixels across, for those who know that. And what
Don't
that
they
means.
want money? Because I already
No,
tried
ma'am.
that.
And if you
the
need a graphic
business-
designer to do those,
Yes,
I do
ma'am.
that for Universal Studios.
She does a great job. Twitter is an interesting way to contact people. You may think, what the hell am I doing this for? Because I've been doing it since 2009 and I'm wondering, am I seeing any value? Actually, I do believe I'm seeing value. One of the interesting things I had was one of the weather guys over at NBC4, Carl Bell. I sent him a picture. Oh my God, I have a great relationship, to the point where he was all over Twitter the other morning going, where's my picture? And so a few weeks back, I had sent him a really lovely picture. I lucked out and got some pink sunrise with the last snow that we had. Well, he liked it. He gave it to NBC4. NBC4 put it on their Facebook page.
Nice.
It was a good day. And so what I'm saying on the social media is you can be very lucky because it's a wide open range. Nobody's got it locked in. And you can get very lucky, see who it is you want to contact, and figure out an innovative, happy, likable way to make that contact.
So you could be helping us with this
I can.
hospital thing.
I have been. You can also professionally distribute a news release, and you might say press release is old school. I'm sorry, give me $500, I'll have you on Yahoo, I'll have you on all over the place. There are ways to electronically distribute press releases. The reason you would want that is the news picks it up. If you're newsworthy and you get picked up, all of a sudden you get all these links back to your website. Super important, Google pays attention to that. So to sum everything up, my final message is, your customer's gonna look at you and they're gonna go, what's in it for me? And that's why I kept going, come on Linda, I need to know more. Because I didn't know what was in it for me, what's the benefit? So when I come to your website, I want to know what your product is, what the benefit is, and why I should stay there longer than 10 seconds. And it's not me, it's the rest of the world that's like that, because, people are drinking Red Bull and all kinds of stuff. And they're getting beyond hyper. If you're not delivering a succinct message of what you can do on your website as they tune in, they're off to Amazon.
That's
Yeah,
absolutely,
it's
that's
true.
great.
And that's it.
Great,
Woo,
thank you.
everything.